Hello and welcome to another Call of Dragons video. I'm Sergeant J, and as you can see behind me, today we're going to be talking about home realms. So let's get into it. This is where I'm getting my information. I also read the system email that came out, but this graphic is where you're going to get the most comprehensive information with the fewest translation errors. Um, so we're going to start off just by reading it so that you can see that I'm not just making this up. I'm getting my information from official sources. And so you can see that I have the same source as everyone else. I've just put a lot of research into this, and I am confident that I have this figured out. That's why I'm putting this video out a little late. I wanted to make sure that I had the most accurate information for everybody. So let's talk about home realms. The first thing I need to talk about is home realm is not home server. Okay, so on my main account, for example, my home server is 73. In the first migration, I migrated to 74. So my new home server on my main account is 74. It's the one that I migrated to. Now, I'm not 100% if when this update goes live, if those migrations will be erased and my home server will go back to 73. But what I do know is that any migration that happens at the end of your current season, and it's currently 2nd of May, 2024, any migration that you do at the end of your current season will change your home realm. So it effectively changes your home server and you will not be going back to it. I know that that's what a lot of people were expecting with this update, and that's how some people are still interpreting this, but that is incorrect. Now, just for the purposes of the video, I'm going to mostly be talking about people that are already in, as you can see here, Season 2 and later. For people in Season 1, there's really not like a big change because after Season 1, they're just going to be sent to a home realm where they will have their High King and everything set based on the Season 1 results. And so if you are currently in Season 1, the rest of this video is not going to be for you. And let's first move my head out of the way. We'll block Kella here. Okay, so let's get into it. Season 2 and later, my new main account, because I actually abandoned my server 73 account. My new main account is on Season 2. We are about to push for Frost Dragon, and there's like 4 weeks left of the season, maybe 4.5. It's about halfway through. So I'm again going to be talking mostly for people who are currently in Season 2, but this also applies to Season B1, Season T1 as well. Okay, so it says, if you're in Season 2 or later, wait for the current season to end. This update will only affect you after the season preview. Okay, so let's read what it says. It says, following the season preview, Lords will undergo the migration and season summary processes, after which you'll be able to access the home realm. Okay, so what does that mean? That's the whole reason I'm making this video, is to interpret this for you. What does that mean? Season rewards will now be distributed at the season's end immediately after the season summary. Okay, so that's a side note because it's a change. We used to get the season rewards at the start of the next season, but now it will be right at the season summary. Okay, so this is the timeline that really lays it all out for us. Ignore the dates here. The dates are stupid. The migration period is typically 72 hours or 3 days. And the migration for people who are currently in Season 2 and beyond, when the update launches, the migration will be the same division style migration that we had in the past. So let's read about it. Division migration. For servers from Season 2 onward, after the current season ends, there will be one last chance for division migration. What that means is that we will have division migration as you see here. There will be a season preview, 3-day migration, followed by the season summary before we go to the home realm. So after that, division migration won't be available at the end of each season anymore. Instead, a new season migration system will be introduced. So all this means is that they're changing the way the migration is going to work. So they used to call it division migration, and now it's going to have a different name, but mostly it's going to work the same. You'll only be able to migrate to other servers within your season, just like it is now. So I'm currently in season 2 with servers 309 through 312. I can migrate to 310, 311, or 312, or I can stay on 309. In the future, migration is going to work in the same way. I'll be able to only migrate to those servers who are in my current season with me, competing for the Frost Dragon or whatever behemoth we're going to be competing for in the future. Okay, so this new season migration system that will be introduced, it's going to be very similar to the current division migration. I'll get into the differences in a little bit, but part of it has to do with how much space is going to be in each server for you to migrate, and there's going to be a high king that can actually send special invitations to people to migrate even when the server is already full, and it's not going to cost 5,000 gems anymore, and there's going to be a cooldown. So we're going to get into that. I'll show you where I'm getting my information from. Okay, new season changes, affiliated region rules. So upon entering a new season, my lord's affiliated region will automatically be allocated on a realm by realm basis and cannot be changed during the season. Okay, what does this mean? This means that you will no longer be able to choose your affiliated region. For example, if your affiliated region is Burning Lands because you're in Tamaris, you won't be able to change your affiliated region. And when you have semi-protected passes that say Burning Lands on them, only alliances who have taken behemoths in Burning Lands will be able to move through those passes. So that's an example of why affiliated region is important. It's also important because you cannot join another alliance that has a different affiliated region after season 1. That's something a lot of people get confused about. As an R5 in season 2, I'm currently getting emails every day of people asking me, hey, can I join your alliance? But they're from people from other servers and who are in different regions. And I have to tell them, we'll do recruiting later. It's currently not possible. So with the new change, your affiliated region will be the same as everyone else from your home realm server. So I'm avoiding to say home server because people are interpreting that as whichever server you were in for season 1. But that's incorrect. Your home realm server changes based on where you migrate to. So if I don't want to be with 309 anymore for season 2+, which is now season B1, I can just migrate to another of the servers 310, 311, or 312. But it has big consequences. It means that I'm going to spend a mini season with them in the home realm, and it means that I'm going to go into season 2+ or B1 in the same region as all of those people. I won't be able to choose and like swap regions. And if you use deduction, this also means that there won't be any resurgence to a different region. That home realm that you migrated to or that you started in, that's yours until you migrate out of it, and you're stuck playing with those same people. So in this case, it's saying you won't get to choose the affiliated region that you start in for the next season. Okay, so it's really important to make sure that you migrate to a good server at the end of each season, because like I said, you're going to be stuck with them for the mini season that takes place in the home realm and also for the next season. And we're going to get into that a little more. Okay, season progress. This is just saying that the new seasons will all be 50 days long. Currently, they were 70 plus days, 70 days for the season, and then like a waiting period of it was like 6 to 10 days, or actually it was more like 6 to 15 days, depending on which servers you were going to be matched with in the next season. But anyway, so this is just saying that you're going to have this mini season that they're calling the home realm, followed by an, your normal season that you should be going into next, but that this season will now only be 50 days long, and some of these Augur Stone events will be a little bit shorter. And then it says preparation to say, okay, after the new season, you're going to have a migration, and then you're going to go into a new home realm mini season. And it says preparation because in the home realm is the place where you can create alliances and recruit members. And so that whole alliance creation period and recruitment, it's going to take place again in the home realm. And this gives you the chance to donate to Alliance Tech, and everything that you accomplish in the home realm mini season will actually give you buffs in the season to come. And as they explain in the email, you'll be able to go back and forth from the season that you're playing against other servers, the KVK it's called, to the home realm and work on stuff in the home realm. If you weren't able to, say your alliance isn't very strong because it's not as active, that alliance can spend more of its time in the home realm and join the season later, or vice versa. Okay, so season quests. A new season quest system will be announced, blah blah. It's not really important in my opinion. Alliance rules. Alliances can only be created in the home realm, is what I was just explaining. Okay, so players can only join alliances from that realm. So again, you won't be able to do resurgence to another realm / region. You're going to be stuck in your affiliated region for the entire season until or unless you migrate away from that home realm / server, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and it's saying alliance data from the home realm will be retained. So that's what I was saying. You will be able to donate to your alliance and get different buffs and things like that from while you're in the home realm. And then when you decide to go to the season, if you go back to the home realm, or at the end of the season when you go back to the home realm, that alliance data will still be retained and you can continue to progress in the home realm as well. So warband system, this is very important. It's basically just saying that since it's now your home realm is going to be in the affiliated region every season that you play in, and you won't be able to switch mid-season, that we're not going to do unions anymore where two alliances can be affiliated with each other and where you're not able to attack each other, etc. That now that it's a true KVK, now that it's home realm versus home realm versus home realm, it should be 1v1v1v1 for most servers, and eventually into 6. Then the union system isn't necessary anymore, and they're replacing it with a warband system. It just means that all of the alliances from that home realm that want to work together can have one big union, and they'll even be able to share territory, behemoth buffs, but they won't be able to summon each other's behemoths. There's also going to be a new mechanic where you can teleport from one behemoth to another and help other alliances in your warband to defeat their behemoths. Now that the limit cap, the number of player limit for normal behemoths has gone away, and so that's really pretty cool. Ranking events, this is another thing that's not really important. It's basically just saying that that's not changing much. High King, okay, I'm not going to get into this a ton, but I do need to cover it, obviously, because it's a new mechanic and it really changes the game in a lot of ways. So in the home realm, the alliance leader who defeats and purifies the flame dragon will ascend to the position of High King. So what this means is in the home realm, there's going to be a flame dragon. Okay, if you're currently in season 1, it's going to be different, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm in season 2, as well as most players are past that. So just to be clear, when you get into the home realm, it's a mini season, and everyone from your server after the migration takes place will be in that home realm after your current season ends. And then there's going to be a competition for which R5, which alliance is going to build the best coalition for his server, just like it was in season 1, and compete for the Flame Dragon. Because the mini season called the home realm, it's going to be in Tamaris. And so the Flame Dragon's going to be in Atherin, just like in the normal season 1. So as the highest ruler of the realm, the High King, it's going to be the R5 of whichever alliance takes the Flame Dragon. The High King not only enjoys supreme privileges, but also shoulders the sacred mission of leading the realm members to conquer the new season. So what this means is the High King will actually be able to give out reward chests, as well as punish some players. He'll be able to choose which buffs your realm is going to enjoy. I'm not sure how long the cooldown is going to last on those buffs, but the High King's actually going to be able to control a few key privileges that will affect your whole home realm in its battle when you are in season B1 or T1 or B2. And so you got to think about that before you migrate. Is the server that I'm migrating to going to have a good High King who I trust and who I know is capable? Or is it going to have a High King that might let us down? Just because a server has more T5s or more power doesn't mean that it's going to be the best one to migrate to have the most successful season. You also got to think about who the leaders are and how that's all going to play out. So I think a lot more strategy goes into this game now after the update. And you can see update is 1.0.26. And let's talk about the new season migration system. As I said, if you're not currently in season 1, then you're still going to have division migration at the end of the season, right? So it's going to go season preview, 3-day migration, and then the normal division migration. For those who are in season 2 with me, they might not know what normal migration looks like. So I'll cover that really quickly before reading the rest of this update. So currently in my season 2, right after the season preview that we talked about, I'm going to have 3 days to migrate to a different server if I choose. Migration costs 5,000 gems, and you can do it as many times as you want in the 3-day period. However, each server has a certain quota, a certain number of active players that can fit in that server. So as soon as the season migration starts, you're going to see some servers will say crowded, and others will say not crowded. Okay, so the crowded servers can only recruit like 70 to 80 players to migrate before it will be full. And once it's full, obviously you can't migrate there anymore. And so it'll be really important for people to set an alarm and do the migration in the first like 30 to 40 minutes, possibly depending on where you're trying to migrate to. So, and then a lot of players can end up homeless, right? If your leader migrates to another server, then you can end up leaderless. So it's going to be really important, this next migration, for people, especially because the new home realm is going to be your affiliated region for the whole next season, and you'll have no option to research. So that's how it currently works. 5,000 gems. You can do it as many times as you can unless the server you're migrating to is full. So let's talk about the new, what they're calling personal migration. After meeting certain requirements, Lord can use the season migration feature to migrate to the home realm within the same season server. So this goes back to what I explained earlier, where you'll still only be able to migrate to other servers that are in your season server. So if you're 309 through 312 like I am, your options are limited to those 4 servers. Okay, and it's going to continue like that in the future. So season migration requires using an item called migration permits. The number of migration permits required for lords to migrate during the season varies based on their power. So I assume this is going to be sort of like your cooldown to teleport when you join an alliance. The more power you have, the more it's going to cost you to migrate. But it should be easier to get these migration permits. But it means that the more powerful players won't be able to migrate as many times during the migration period. The other caveat here is upon completing a migration, you will have a cooldown period. So if you migrate in the first 40 minutes and then you decide, oh no, like my buddies didn't get to migrate with me, the server's full, and now I'm all alone, you're going to have to wait until the cooldown ends before initiating another season migration. And you also need to have the necessary migration permits. So the details on this have not been released, but this is how it's going to work, and this won't be happening for quite some time. So no need to worry about that for quite a while. Realm migration rules. Also, these rules won't really affect anyone for quite a while. The High King can adjust the season migration power limit. So the High King will set a threshold saying, like, I don't want, people less than 20 million power joining my home realm and filling us up, And then there's going to be another threshold. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so power limit of the realm to impose restrictions on the power of migrants. That's what I just explained. I can say, hey, I've got a really powerful server. I don't want anyone to do the season migration unless they have at least 30 million power, because we're trying to, get stronger, not have a bunch of like weaker players in our server. So it says each realm has a maximum quota for the number of migrants it can recruit each season. So similar to how season migration works currently, depending on how many active players are in your server or home realm, your quota, i.e. how many players can migrate into your server, will be limited. So if you're a stronger server with a lot of active players, your quota might only be like 40 players, right? So 40 people with over 20 million power, whatever the High King sets, those 40 people will be able to migrate as long as they have the migration permits. And after that, the server's full and more people won't be able to migrate. They'll be stuck. So in addition to the season migration, we're introducing a special migration system. The quota for special migration is limited and requires approval from the High King. Once approved, migrants entering the corresponding server will not be subject to any power or quota limitations. Okay, so a High King can offer special invitations, and the thing that makes this really important is that the High King can give an invitation for someone to migrate into their server even after the server is full. So it doesn't matter if you've already hit your quota, there's still going to be like, I don't know, 3 to 10 special migration passes that the High King can give out to certain people that he likes, or maybe the stronger people. Might be a strategy to first fill your quota and then start handing out these special migration passes. I know that's what I would do if I was High King. But just so you know, if your server is full after migration, then after the next season, when you start the season migration period, you'll most likely be full again or be very close to your quota. So it'll end up working kind of like a pay cap in basketball or baseball, where like the New York Yankees can't recruit all the best pitchers and hitters and players because eventually they hit their pay cap and they can't give someone a big contract even though they have the money for it. So that's how I'm kind of comparing this. So question and answer, I'm only going in through this because a few of them are important. Okay, so when can migration start after the update? As I said before, you're going to have a normal migration period if you're currently in season 2 and beyond. And so the special migration won't happen until after your next season, but you'll still be able to do a division migration before the season summary. How are migration quotas determined after the update? Okay, so I explained this already, but let's read about it. Okay, after the update, lords below the power threshold won't count towards the migration quota. So this is what I was saying. There's going to be two power thresholds. The one that the High King sets, and then another one that allows people to migrate their farm accounts um, to whichever server they're migrating to, so that their farms don't get left behind, right? So it might be like any account that's less than 12 million power can migrate to any server during the migration period, and it won't count against the quota. That's at least how I'm interpreting this. It could be that nobody below that power can migrate, but it's pretty clear here that there's going to be certain lower power accounts that can migrate without counting against the quota. Okay, so the remaining quota will depend on the service's status, full, crowded, or active. So full servers won't accept migrants. Okay, but it's saying that there is a power threshold where you can still migrate and you're not counting against the quota. And so farm accounts can migrate to full servers and they won't be subject to these rules. Okay, so where can I get migration permits? Okay, you can get them from the Alliance store and new monthly bundles. So like I said, people with high power will be able to get more migration permits, but they'll also be required to spend more migration permits each time they migrate. So this is it for this announcement here. I'm going to get into this just a little bit to show some of the information that I got. Okay, season. Okay, the seasons are shortened to 50 days, but the current season you're in won't be affected. Affiliated regions. This is what I wanted to share. Affiliated regions will be assigned by the system with realms as the unit. Players cannot choose their own affiliated region, and it cannot be changed during the season. So this goes back to what I was explaining before, that there will not be a resurgence feature available anymore. Okay, and I kind of doubt that there will be like a peaceful island that you can teleport to either, because it says lower down here, and I don't have the time to search for it while I'm recording, but it says that you'll be allowed to go back and forth from the home realm to your current season. So even though I called the home realm a mini season, it doesn't disappear just because the season started. People still have the option to to leave the current season and go back to the home realm, and I'm assuming that they'll be able to donate to their alliance and help build it so that it has more buffs and various things like that. And so it'll be interesting to see just how active the seasons are, or if certain alliances will opt to remain in the home realm for longer and then only move to the season once they've established their alliance or reached certain goals. It seems like that's how it's going to be, which means that the game is going to be very different from how it is now. Okay, so this covers it. This is what I wanted to go over. I know that a lot of players are very confused by this update, and I really hope that this video has helped. If you disagree, go ahead and leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next one.